Hi, my name is Byron, and I would like to welcome all the new and all of my existing followers. So, I want to talk to you guys about who I am and a little bit about my journey. So, as mentioned, my name is Byron. I grew up in northwest London, in one of the largest council estates in Europe, in fact, in an environment that's a bit unsavory to say the least. I went to a local school, failed my GCSEs. Then went to college, started from foundation level, and started to understand how I learn as an individual. I then got to my A levels, and then I was awarded the Best Learner Award, in fact, and that was awarded to me at the Houses of Parliament. Then went to university and studied business economics. And there was kind of a reoccurring theme and a reoccurring pattern throughout my education. And that was when I was in school, I was buying and selling sweets. In college, it was CDs and clothes. And at university, I was buying and selling cars. I was buying salvage cars, repairing it and selling it. Whilst at university, I was obsessed with a program which many of you may be familiar with, which is called Homes Under the Hammer. And this program was like so fascinating to me to see how people were like developing these properties and making profit from these properties. So I decided to go to the auction house, register and go to the auction house that was local to me. And I had no business going there. I didn't, have enough money to buy a property or anything like that, or understand how to buy a property. But I went to the auction house anyway and was really obsessed with some of these properties and seeing the margins that it would sell for based on the guide price. And then what I decided to do from there was just speak to people. I was just so intrigued. I would speak to someone like, the person would buy a property at lot number 31 at Cecil Road, and I was like, wow, if you buy that property, you're gonna make X amount and Y amount. They was looking at me like, who's this crazy kid talking to me about my property? And I was just so fascinated, and my energy was quite infectious, I think, because people would invite me to the property. Well, why don't you come and see what we do with it? And I was like, of course I will. So I would go to these properties and see what they do with it and see how the development process works. And it was really, really, really fun. And what I was doing at the time, which I didn't realize I was doing, was I was networking. And I didn't realize that was the term for it. And I didn't realize that's what I was doing. It wasn't premeditated. That is just what I was doing. And it brought me into a whole new world. And I guess you could say I had many, many property mentors. And they were showing me what to do, how to do it, and so on and so forth, introduced me to the relevant people and brokers and so on. And then I became a broker. I was helping them sell their properties. And that was an amazing thing. But one of the things I had or didn't have was I didn't have any clients. I was like, where am I going to find people to buy these properties? So I was thinking, okay, where can I find people? And I came up with this radical idea of I'm going to find them in luxury hotels, which worked for me actually. So I was hanging out in the Waldorf, the Hilton, Lanesborough as a student in university, and I was simply networking with them. But I would go there. Didn't want to at those times, going and paying £5-6 for a bottle of water was a no-no. I would go to Boots, buy my water, go and study in the foyer, and anybody saw that I thought was wealthy, I would have a conversation with. Now, that might have been, I was profiling. I literally was looking at people, and I was like looking at their clothes, I was looking at what they were wearing, I was looking at their watches, and I was like, they might have some money. And if they said anything to do with property development, investment, or money, I would speak to them and I would say, hey, I heard you speak about property. Are you interested in buying property? I've got something that might be of interest to you, and you can save 5%, 10%. And they were like, really? Okay, what is it? And then I was brokering deals that way. And that's where I first started getting my clients. Still at university at this point, I was brokering deals and had enough money to buy my first property, which I did at the tender age of 21. Now, I always say this, if it wasn't for the conveyancing process and the lovely solicitors who I speak to all the time, it would have been 20. Hey ho, it could have been worse. So I bought my first property at the tender age of 21. Now, again, still whilst at university, I was approached by one of my clients, in fact, to invest into an estate agency. And I was like, at that point, my whole world was like, oh my God, I'm going to do property for the rest of my life. An estate agency is a no-brainer. And I gave them all my money and I said, let's do it. So invested into an estate agency. I was meant to be a silent partner, but unfortunately, as I was towards the end of my university degree, that business was starting to fail. So I left university and went to work in the organization, and that business failed. So it failed for two reasons, and I talk about this all the time. Number one, I didn't qualify my purchase. So I didn't have the skills and knowledge to ask the right questions about the business. It's not because it was withheld from me, it's because I didn't know what to ask. Second reason was it was a credit crunch. And the two things combined was it was not possible for the business to survive. So that business failed. Now, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I had no more money, been working in the organization. All I had was a great credit score because I'm obsessed with my credit file. I had a great credit score and I had a Capital One credit card. And I said, what am I going to do? So I said, I'm going to pay for some training and qualify as a domestic energy assessor. And the reason why was because I wanted to start a property service business. Now, I wanted to start a property service business because what I found was one of the big issues whilst working in the organization in terms of the estate agency was I had to wait on site for far too long. So I was the sales manager, lettings manager, every manager, right? And I had to wait sometimes for a whole day for a number of services to take place in order for me to sell or rent that property, many of which are legal requirements, for example, a gas certificate or a periodic inspection or an EPC. So I said, there's got to be a better solution. And I just want to phone one company and not 5 different companies to have these services. So I decided to build a company, and that's where it started. I had a tiny little office where I pretty much had enough money to have 1 month or 2 months rent, and I qualified as an assessor, and then I roped in a friend, and then I was outsourcing the other work at that point. I grew that business to one of the largest surveying businesses in the southeast of England. I sold that business. I was not allowed to trade in that business, part of my agreement and contract, for 2 years. I then went back into it after 2 years and sold it again, actually, to a company in southeast London. Now, during this process of selling it and doing it again and selling it allowed me to do many, many different things, which was really, really exciting, and allowed me to see what I like doing as an entrepreneur and as a businessman. So that experience was fantastic. If I fast forward to where I am today, of course, I am a best-selling author. We have a business book called Self-Made, which helps people start, grow, scale, and develop their businesses. I'm a consultant and mentor, so I really enjoy mentoring and helping people do the same, so that start, grow, scale, and develop. And whilst it doesn't compare in terms of my financial, what I earn from my other businesses, is something that I really love and really have a passion for. I have a construction recruitment company, which I co-founded with my business partner. We turn over £7 million. In fact, in the first year, we turned over £7 million also. I've got a bit of a history in terms of recruitment companies. I also have a luxury chauffeur business because I want to drive luxury cars, but I don't want to have the pleasure of paying for them. So I've got a number of luxury cars from Rolls Royces, Bentleys, Range Rovers, Mercedes, and alike. And we offer that out to clients only on for special occasions and on a chauffeur-driven basis, not for self-drive basis, because I don't want the stress of anybody driving any of my vehicles. I'm also a school governor. I also do a lot of work with some charities, in particular Evolve Housing, where I sit as a co-chair, which is a homeless charity, which I spend a lot of time working with them to develop a number of different things. But I'm involved in many, many different businesses. I have many different hats, and it is an absolutely thrilling and also just amazing experience to know that where I came from to where I am today. And it is absolutely amazing, and I love doing what I do. So I just wanted to take you through that journey and just give you a couple of things that I'm involved in. If you really want to know more, go on my LinkedIn or go onto my website, and you can have a full read of everything that I do and what I'm all about. But hopefully that gives you a short synopsis on me, who I am, and what I do. So my name is Byron, and I live to inspire.